Hey everybody, welcome to the Lion's Den today. I have a special guest here, but before I get into that, it's reflecting upon the interview I did with Atilis Gym Bellmawr with Frank and Ian. The founder of Atilis Gym reached out to me right after that, Chris Lambert, that has 5 locations, and he's upset. He's not happy. He believes he's living a brand nightmare that's going to destroy his other locations. Chris sold to Frank and Ian less than a year ago. This pandemic hit, and it's been a nightmare for Chris, in his words, from the beginning with Frank and Ian and what they're doing. I'm not one to get in the middle of anything. I went down, I met Chris. I listened to his story. He had a lot of text messages. He had a lot of different information. He believes at the end of the day, this is about money and fame for Frank and Ian. And that's all he believes is about. He believes they're frauds that are going to go to jail in the long run, and it's going to burn Atilis Gym's name down, and he wants no parts of it. With that being said, some would argue that Frank and Ian has made Atilis Gym a household name around the country and has only built brand equity for Chris, and there is no downside, depending on who you ask. I'd be curious to have your opinion on that. For me, I told Chris that, hey, listen, you have a great upside here, but you are correct. This is a brand nightmare and brand confusion if something does go wrong with Frank and Ian. Full transparency, we reached out to Frank and Ian. They immediately jumped right back on a Zoom with me and answered every question we had here at the Lion's Den about some of the text messages and some of the things Chris said. It's not my job to get in the middle of it. It's not my job to report on that. Frank and Ian were believable. Chris Lambert was believable. At the end of the day, you have to decide what's best for you and what you think this is truly all about. But for sure, this is a brand nightmare and a business nightmare, and should tell every business owner out there, make sure you protect your brand at the end of the day and don't just see money immediately, because your brand is bigger than any dollar long term that you'll get immediately. Thank you for watching The Lion's Den. I hope you enjoy this interview with Chris Lambert, the original founder of Atilis Gym. I know this as a small business, and you have 4 or 5 locations now. I know the brand equity that you could gain and you could lose. Yes. And your main concern, the reason why I said it is you're afraid you're going to lose your brand equity. Make no mistake, it's up right now to all-time high.
That's why it's
but you're afraid it's going to backslap you.
Well, I know it is.
They're frauds and they're in it for the money and it's going to come out. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And again, I hope you see it. I hope the people see it. You know, I talk to everybody. People see me on the street. And, you know, some people say good things, some people say bad things. My reviews, I've gotten 20 one-star reviews because of this backlash. Now, also, other people say, oh, my God, Chris, Atilis Gym is everything. So it's good and bad. But for me, it's about putting out the truth. You know what? Listen, I could have been a part of this.
But you were kind of for it, but now you feel like your brand's going to be hurt. Do you feel like...
I don't know if I was ever for it. I just thought it was never going to go to this level. I never thought it was going to take off in such a manner. And I said, you know what? And on that conversation, you know, we'll get into this. I said to him, this is going to backfire. This is going to go bad real fast, real hard.
Do you think it's backfired? Gyms are still closed besides theirs.
And that's the problem. All of us real gyms. I mean, people who I admire. Let's go to Rob from Apollo Gym, Maz Ali from Powerhouse. These guys who I look up to. So many other gyms in the state of New Jersey are closed, man. We're all sitting back trying to figure out how we're going to make our bills and our payments.
Do you think this is malice from the governor, or do you think this is a FU pretty much from the governor saying, I'm keeping all gyms shut down because of these 2 gentlemen? Do you believe that?
I do believe it, okay? I'm going to sit there and tell you this. It's my opinion, as well as so many others, that it is, if not the reason, one of the main reasons that we're still closed down.
Do you think that's fair, though? Do you think the governor should be doing that? I mean, listen, Frank and Ian are just 2 local business guys. If they want fame and fortune, this and that, should the governor be above paying everyone else back?
I would have been hand in hand with them guys, because remember something. Tommy from Top Shelf Fitness opened up that coalition page. It quickly grew to 120 gym owners who all had the same idea. That idea was to do everything possible we could to get a meeting with the governor. And then, yes, we all discussed it. Tommy stated, June 1st, we're going to open, united, show a power in numbers, and show the government that we can, not to the level in which they are.
Do you regret selling to them as a small business person? You regret. Do you think you'll ever sell? Because you're right. I read the legal paperwork. There's no franchise. There's no licensing agreement. There's nothing. Like, you don't like even have any type of cross, hey, letting our members in the agreement. You have nothing about selling things online where I saw you had to write a letter before. You have nothing saying that they can't use Atilis any way they want. I mean, for a guy that has 4 or 5 locations, was your lawyer high that day?
This agreement, which was prepared by Frank, his attorney, okay? My attorney looked at it, and Tommy Keywood, I love you, brother. And Tommy busted my chops. I remember what I said. I was with Nick Bono. Nick Bono is a good friend of mine for many years. Nick Bono helped me open that location. He was more or less my manager of that location. Nick was the one who said, hey, Chris, I'm going to bring in 2 guys. Now, let's remember something. Frank did come into the Atilis Gym Bellmawr several months prior to open up his rock bottom nutrition store. Now, I didn't know Frank. He looked like a good guy. I can't say anything. At that point, we looked like we're all friends. Like, we're going to have a great time. We did a video the day that June 1st that we signed the papers. We're all laughing, drinking, doing shots. I'm thinking these guys are just like me. These guys are going to run this gym just the way I did. Well, unfortunately, quickly changed. Things that I wasn't agreeable with. Frank and Ian, I'll respect their opinion. They'll say it was on me. But you know what? It's my brand. I thought it was agreed upon that it was certain things you can and can't do.
But it wasn't. I mean, clearly in the documents, there was nothing ever put in a document what you can. I mean, when I tell you it's a Fruit Loop box, it's a Fruit Loop box. These guys can go run shotgun with your brand and name and do whatever they want.
Well,
there's not much
there's going to be a legal battle. And of course, we'll let the courts talk. And me and you talked about it. Unfortunately, you can't do anything. Well, you can. But of course, you know, the courts are so backlogged, it ain't going to be heard until after the new year.
There's no doubt about that. But if you had to go back now, knowing what you know, because I spent, probably 2 hours with yesterday, 3 hours on your stuff yesterday.
Very thorough.
Coming through stuff here today. And I couldn't believe that, and you're a nice guy. I mean, full transparency, I come down to Wildwood for a week every year. You didn't know who I was until you reached out to me. But I was like, when I walked in, you're like, oh, I remember you. I come in every year for a week by week pass, and I run on your treadmill, trying not to become 400 pounds. But the point I'm being is, your brand's being destroyed in your opinion right now, and you believe, and I did see legal paperwork where even the government is messing up that it's still your gym up there. You're still on the line for the lease up there. So I did see the paperwork there.
So what happens is this.
So what do you do? Would you go back?
I would go back in time and never sell it to him. I would give it, originally I bought that gym for my son, Cody. So listen, here's the thing. I thought he was going to live up there. He didn't want to live up there. He wanted to come down here. So he is now running Sea Isle City. I'm stuck up there. I'm running for about 18 months. Great location. Let me just tell you something. I can show you documents of how much money that place was making.
No, you showed me. It was about $20,000 a month before you did that.
Profitable, right? Profitable. I mean, profitable. Long story short, Frank will go in there and say it was behind on all its bills and all. Absolutely not. I had 3 people that wanted to buy it. I actually had somebody who also offered me more money, but because it was Nick. Okay, so we don't see eye to eye. That's here or there. We're at the point in which the coalition happens March 6th. Now, let me ask you something. Who is the first gym in the state of New Jersey to open up a GoFundMe page? Atilis Gym Bellmawr. I reached out to Frank. I said, Frank, the way it's worded, it almost looks like it's me. It almost looks like, people are going to misunderstand.
I saw those text messages prior to opening. I saw that. Once again, brand confusion, brand identity.
Okay. So at that point, I've made many offers to him. You saw an offer. I even upped it.
I did see him writing $20,000 just to change his name. But my thing is this, right? And I know you offered $40,000.
$40,000.
And that's someone that believes in his brand. I do believe you're not coming from a malice place. I do believe that you believe in your brand. I believe that I know a lot of guys, Bob Irwin that works out here. I know a lot of guys at Vince, they're big guys, they're built guys. I'm not your typical customer for your place, and that's okay. But you take a look at it and you say, well, I'm not your typical customer, right? You got real gym guys that come in here, right? So I look at it and say, you believe in your brand equity. Do you believe these guys are going to destroy your brand equity with what they're doing?
No, I don't think they're going to destroy it. I think they're going to harm it. It's going to give it a negative name. This will come out. With your show, with you, this is the first step. You're a person who obviously does very thorough homework, obviously fact-checked everything on me, which I love, which we can put forth to the people out there. That's what I want. I want the opportunity to just put out the facts. The facts are what they are, okay? You can't do something from the start with bad intentions, and everything thereafter doesn't matter.
But what's their play? This is the one thing. I get you why you're so upset, right? Listen, my One SEO brand, digital line, everyone here filming here knows it's nothing more important to me than my last name, Bachmann, more than that, right? Nothing more important. So I'd be pissed too. But what's their end play? I mean, no offense, I know what a gym makes. They're not getting a franchise deal. I mean, I've talked to both these guys. Great guys, it seems to me. Frank and I seem nice. I'm not getting in the middle of yours to war. Seem like nice people to me, but I can't see a private equity firm coming to them and saying, you guys run the gym. I can see a private equity firm coming and saying, I want to buy the name Atilis. I could see that very easily at this point because you guys have such a national name, but I would have to go through you anyway.
Have to.
So,
okay?
So where's the play for Frank and Ian?
It was never thought of. These guys had never, and listen, we talked on the phone, as you can see, for many times. Long story short, they never thought it was going to get this big. They thought we were going to open up a GoFundMe page. Everybody's going to put in $500,000 or what they said, more than $500,000. And, I said it to them. It's going to backfire.
Well, it's over 200 and some thousand now.
Exactly. Now they keep on switching attorneys and everything else. But I think they're in a situation.
Well, good call for them to switch attorneys after what I've seen that's going on before. That's besides the point.
Now, that was a bad attorney. Who's going to go right to federal court and bypass state?
I mean, my point being is this, though, is you guys have a very up and down relationship from the beginning of you selling your brand to them. That one. Because I saw about websites, about logos inside the gym. I mean, other small businesses can learn so much from what you're going through right now.
Listen,
the pain.
I take that responsibility. I told you.
I actually said to my crew here, I said, you're not a bad guy. Know what you remind me of? My brother Fred. Just an old school guy. If he gives you his word, he means. I mean, you couldn't send an email to me. Your wife did. You're a nice guy, but like you're an old school guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just some people that
suck on computers. You're right. My wife had to do it.
If you shook my hand and told me something, I believe you'd go through with it just on a handshake because that's from what your paperwork looked like. That's what it reminds me of.
That's what it was. We all had that agreement, guys. We're not going to do online sales. Absolutely no online sales.
Why no online sales in 2020? I'm just curious for that one.
Because it was always agreed upon that you guys can use the name Atilis Gym.
Do you do online sales?
I don't even do them.
It's 2020.
Listen, there's a lot of things I got to do better. But listen, for me, it's better here. Right now, I do this good. I don't know if I'm going to get into online sales yet, or when I do it, I'm going to do it the right way. But the point is this, back to Frank and Ian and Nick Bono. He's an independent person.
Where's Nick Bono doing all this stuff? Where's he at?
He's a good friend of mine. He's come in here multiple times. We talk all the time. Great guy. He just didn't want the aggravation. He didn't want the complications and the problems, so he left. Again, good friend of mine talked to me the other day.
Where did it go for Frank and Ian from here? Because I'm just curious. Because you were a cop. I've never seen anyone beat the government, and now they're on the government's radar.
Listen. How about this? Is there a reason that every other gym in the state of New Jersey? Wait a second. Is there a reason that every other small business in the state? Let's go one step farther. Is there a reason that every business in the nation hasn't put on the circus show that they have? Listen, they're holding hands, kicking in the damn door. That's a circus show. And you did it for publicity. I mean, how many times can they sit there and go on TV and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that? You did it for a circus show. Listen, it's not about them being open. I hope every gym in New Jersey is doing what they can for their customers, their members, and their friends. Open that back door. You know why? People need to work out. People need to say help.
Do you think Governor Murphy's doing this to be vindictive?
Yes.
Do you think he has the right to do this?
No. No, he is.
So you don't have a problem with their actions. You have a problem with how they're using your brand and actions.
I have a problem with the way they started. The way they started with a scheme, I call it a scam, to keep people's money.
Do you think without that GoFundMe page, because GoFundMe, like people are saying, oh, well, they're using their money. No, when you have a GoFundMe page, you call what I call a slush fund, right? I mean, same thing. Do you think they'd be battling this legal battle still, or do you think they would just comply?
They would have to comply. Now, listen.
Why would they have to comply?
Because you can't fight the government. First of all, you're not going to win against the government. There's a reason, like I just said, why every other business has not gone to this level. Yes, there's a way. I agree. Businesses should be able to fight the government because what this governor's doing is absolutely wrong, okay? Whether I am open, whether I'm not open, whether I have been open, it doesn't matter. The point is, this governor's overstepping his boundaries. Okay, listen, do a national emergency for 30 days. After 30 days, I'll even give you 60 days. Isn't it right for that governor to go to the legislature and ask them for more or less forgiveness, permission?
It is, but this is the one thing, they're fighting money with other people's money, but the one thing I say, and back, I'll get the exact date and we'll put it in here, They text you and they asked you for 2 months forgiveness. And this blew my mind because I saw a lot of text messages of you guys not saying the nicest things to each other. And you immediately responded, no problem, I'll give you 2 months forgiveness. And you got them a letter inside of 24 hours saying, does this suit your needs? And so explain why,
Because that's the right thing to do. I might not agree with them guys. They call me. I knew the pandemic hit. I knew they were going to have bills. Ian specifically texted me and said, hey, Chris, do you mind if we put our payments on hold? Like you saw, I showed it to you. I said, no problem if we need more time, because that's the right thing to do. I might not like these guys. I might not agree with the way they're running their business, but that's the right thing to do. Okay, my father passed away a long time ago. Let me tell you something. It's about your name. It's about me saying, hey, look, if I say yes to somebody, that's my name.
Well, the reason I'm putting so much stock into your text messages, no offense, is if you can't shoot me an email, I got a hard time believing you know how to go on the Apple and start changing text messages around and make them come back. That's why I'm putting so much stock into those text messages and the strings of them. And I just saw the chronological storytelling there. And that's where I thought, hey, listen, there's a guy that's worried about his brand. Do you think the government, because let's be realistic, what most people don't know, you're still obligated to the lease up there. You're on there. I saw that where you're still on that lease, which amazed me you signed a deal still being on the lease.
So here's the problem, okay? We sell the business June 1st. Let's just put it out there. I sold it to them for $220,000. I took a small percentage down. If that gym was such bad, behind on bills, why would I own or finance it? You know business. I respect you. Would I own or finance a business that wasn't making money?
No.
Okay. All right. Very easy question. So listen, these guys were all about getting a new lease with the landlord. From June 1st till now, they haven't been able to even get a lease going. For whatever reason, they're still on my lease. That's going to be a whole nother court battle.
Ultimately, you think that you have enough to take Atilis back. Would you take that back and put an end to this, or is it going to be change your brand now and go your own way? Because you get married, for them, it'd be brand suicide for them to change their name at this point.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I agree with that. Listen, I'll give Frank. He owns Rock Bottom Nutrition.
I'm the branding guy. I've never heard of Rock Bottom. No one here has ever heard of Rock Bottom. Frank, you're probably a really nice guy. I'm not being rude. Everybody in America at this point knows Atilis Gym Bellmawr. It's actually everyone knows Atilis Gym at this point. So you got to be reaping the benefits of it right now. We talked about sales got to be up in clothing, apparel. It has to be. Listen, a ding dong can see that, right?
That's the problem. I don't want the sales that come out of something that was started for the wrong reason. It was started for money. Clear and day, it was started with mouse. It was started to take people's money. Clear, okay? When Ian sits there and says, oh, in 6 months.
So you think all those GoFundMe donators are being scammed right now?
Absolutely.
They're using them as a platform for fame.
Absolutely.
How does this end? Because what surprised me was they then, after you started sending them letters and saying, hey, don't do this, I don't want my name, they actually stopped paying you your payments and said, put them in escrow, which their attorney advised them to put them in escrow, and it's the right thing to do. But, that's a whole nother legal battle for you now. This has become, in my opinion, if I owned Atilis and I'm you, this is my worst nightmare of selling someone something underneath my brand.
It's crazy. Okay, listen, I don't like what these guys put forth for Atilis Gym Bellmawr. Let me give you a short example. They do an interview, online report on muscular development. Frank goes online, check it out. He tells that all other gym owners have vaginas. Who the hell are you to sit there and say that all these other gym owners have vaginas and that, listen, how low class is that? That's not what I want my brand to be a part.
I wouldn't want my brand to be part of something like that.
That's low class. You don't go into somebody's report. I'm not going to come on here and say, listen, all these other gym, listen, there's people that I respect. Rob Avapowan, Maz, and all these guys who I look up to. And let me tell you something. Wait a second. Ian and Frank, you've been in business at that point for 8 months because of me. How the hell do you think you guys know more business than these other guys and myself?
To GoFundMe, keeping them alive, I think anyone could show you that.
I upped my offer, $40,000. Let's face it, you saw my paperwork, you know what they owe me.
No, prior to this, I see.
Lose the name. If lose the name, but you address it, it's gonna be suicide. But listen, you don't even wear my shirts. You wear this Bellmawr versus everyone. Bellmawr took your mercantile license. You're not going to get it back. You caused the police, and yes, a retired police officer. Look on YouTube. These officers are getting trashed. They're getting bashed. These guys are going after these people on.
I don't think anyone has a problem with the police are doing.
It's on YouTube.
I think everyone right now, just the environment we're in, everyone wants to just take shots at police. Everyone knows 99.9, 99%, 98% of all police officers are good. These police officers are just out there doing their job. No different than if a police officer walked in here to me and my crew and said, put your mask on, pack up, we're going to lock you up. We're going to comply, we're going to listen. They don't want to do it. They don't want to. I mean, that's just part of what they got to do. So and there's a lot of internet trolls out there, so you can't worry about that. That's just the price of tea in China. You know, let's stick back to this though, right? So the one thing I want to get into is why is the biggest reason this matters to you overall? Do you feel like your legacy with your children are going to be hurt? Do you think Governor Murphy's going to come in here and take malice action against you? I mean, there has to be part of that in the back of your mind.
Okay, I've had the opportunity. Remember, Congressman Jeff Van Drew, great guy. Congressman, you were instrumental in getting us a meeting with the governor. So Congressman Van Drew sets up the meeting for May 18th. Remember that date, May 18th. We announced it on our coalition. Hey, we want to tell the whole coalition, May 18th, we got our meeting. What happens hours later? Ian and Frank announced that they're going to open. What date? May 18th at 9 a.m.
After calling you. I get all that. We have that part of it. But this is really about, none of that affects you because that's them up there.
But it did affect us. It affected the coalition.
That's on the coalition and that's on Governor Murphy. You know, I get that. Listen, they didn't take your meeting, right? They just...
No, wait a second. No, so what happens is this. The coalition finds out. We do everything we can. Mark, Tommy, and others called Ian and Frank and said, guys, give us 24 hours, man. Give us 24 hours. You're a part of the coalition. You want to step out. You want to do your own thing. I don't care. Give us 24 hours. Let this meeting happen. Let's just see. We'll all join you. We did everything we could. They said no. Then myself, I made a post on the coalition page. I absolutely said, hey, guys.
You know you didn't make that post. Your wife made that post for you.
No, come on. I can do that. So anyway, I make a post. I say, guys, Ian, Frank, come on, man. We have a meeting set. Give us 24 hours. It goes everywhere. Everyone's asking, guys, don't be stupid. You saw my phone records. Ian calls me the day before. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't think the governor is going to call Ian Andrews because he's somebody important. But Ian said, if you get the governor to call me, specifically me, I won't open. Well, I'm very sorry. You're not that important, okay? So obviously we couldn't get the governor to call Ian, and they opened in a circus format. Let's face it, it was circus. Now, my question is this. Was there anybody paid to be there that day? Was there any paid protesters, maybe paid or maybe something donated? Was there any donation made to a certain organization to have a certain person there who was on a megaphone outside? Who knows?
What I also thought was interesting from all the documents and paperwork, which you're still receiving because you're still part of that. I mean, like for me, this would be my ultimate nightmare, just truthfully, because they never had permission to open up in the parking lot from the landlord. So that's a whole nother set of issues that most people were clapping for him for, but insurance won't cover you, the liability. There's so many business factors.
Putting all the liability on the shopping center itself.
Not even a shopping center. You mean personally you're going to get sued. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Yes, I have had some of my gyms open. I have let my people come in. Egg Harbor PD. Captain Hughes, great guy, came in super, super respectful. He had to do his job. He closed me down. Listen, it's not about them opening. I want them to open. I hope they open. They're letting their friends and their members in to train and keep healthy. I love that. It is only the reason that they have done it from the start with the intention of getting money and benefiting from them personally. That's it. I'm mad at that.
My job is not to get in the middle of anything like that. My job is to really talk about digital marketing, how this hurts brands and business. And it was funny, a woman said to me yesterday, you a news agency actually the other day, Layla, who I went to high school with, and I started laughing, is there any real news agencies anymore? And I actually pushed that back. But at least with us, when it comes to small businesses and minimum-sized businesses, you're gonna get the truth, how it impacts you, and why brand protection and keeping things and making sure you have every I dotted, every T crossed as you're doing your marketing, as you're running your business, as you're scaling your business, because you come back to haunt you. You would be, honestly, an incredible case study for business courses to teach. No offense, you're a nice guy, of what not to do.
Don't be old school with a handshake and a promise that this is the way it's going to be. That's the thing. You know what? I thought confidently with Nick Bono, which I know Nick would never go against me. I truly believe that. long story short, it just went bad so quick, so fast.
For our viewers, what I will say this to you as you watch this, I'm going to close it down. I do appreciate you being on the Lions Den very much. You have a gentleman here that bought this company in 1996. Someone financed it for him, worked 15, 20 hours a day, sacrificed his life. Like you said, cost of marriage. You got to think about this. 30 years of business now plus of time, dedication. This is clearly someone that loves his brand, loves his gym, loves everything about it. And this is the issue when you go out and you don't have the correct representation, don't do everything by the book, and you do things on a handshake, is now he's living what I would call a franchise license nightmare, which he has neither of them to even help protect his brand, which would come back legally on him. And let's just say this does wind up to be some big to-do, which I'm not saying it is or not. He's the one holding the bag when two other people just leave, walk away, and start something new with their lives. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but for everybody watching, you make your own decision, and you should really take a look at it and say, as I scale my organization, as I run my company, am I doing all the right things to protect us long term? And after 30-some years of you being in business, this has to be a hard pill for you to swallow, and I apologize.
In all fairness, and again, fact-checking for myself, listen to your attorney. I mean, listen, my attorney, good friend, I respect the hell out of him.
I got a lot of good friends. Don't mean they should be my attorney.
But no, I didn't listen to him. I said, hey, look, I'm doing it on my own. I'm doing it. And he busted my trust. So I got to be honest with you. The point is, listen to your attorney. To me, I just got to get the facts out there. This is all I had. This is my little piece of the world. It's not, it's growing. This is how I support my kids. This is what I want to leave for my kids. And people know me. And listen, you can check out my social media pages. I'm going to post up questions and such. And there's a lot more to it that I respect that you didn't want to get into. I respect that because, again, it's not factual. You couldn't confirm it, which I love about you. There's just so many other questions that will show it is not right, man.
Listen, you feel free. Social media is a great platform to get things out there, but for On the Den, if we can't look at it, touch it, feel it, we're not going to talk about it. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this gets cleared up for you.
It will. Trust me.